Madam President, Ronald Reagan said, "We maintain peace through our strength. Weakness only invites aggression." The United States of America, a beacon of strength and freedom, generations of Americans purchased this strength through blood, treasure, and self-sacrifice. We do not want to be the first generation of Americans to abandon that tradition, but we will unless we give our men and women in uniform the tools they need to do the job. The President's proposed budget does not deliver for our military. In fact, it tells our military to do less every day than what they have in the past. President Biden's budget proposals cuts money from the Department of Defense when accounting for inflation. I've said before that this budget is disappointing, dangerous, and a disservice to our men and women in uniform. The President's advisors surely know the threat our countries face. Here's what the Office of National Intelligence said in its annual threat assessment. The Chinese Communist Party will continue to undercut the United States, drive wedges between Washington and its allies and partners, and foster international norms that favor the authoritarian Chinese system. That's from the President's own Director of Intelligence. But talk is cheap, and cheap talk is what we're getting because this budget does not rise to meet that threat. Question: does the President not believe the dire warnings of his own advisors? At the same time, President Biden and congressional Democrats' policies are giving us a weak economy when it should be roaring. The last two job reports fell way short of expectations. In April, economists expected 1 million jobs, but we only got 1/4 of that, 25%. Democrats' out-of-control spending is driving inflation to levels we haven't seen in over a decade. President Biden's own budget assumes policies will only lead to a weak 2% GDP growth, 2%, when it should be double that amount. Democrats aren't stopping at a weak military and a weak economy. They put forth thinly veiled attempts to strip our country of what makes it so great. They want to undo our very system of federalism and local control by eliminating states' right-to-work laws through the PRO Act. They want a Washington takeover of every state's election laws through S1, or as I like to call it, the Corrupt Politicians Act. But worst of all is teaching our kids to hate our country. The Biden administration has embraced the divisive curriculum of critical race theory to rewrite history and paint the United States as a villain. Question: how can we expect the Biden administration to defend America's ideals abroad if the President won't even defend them at home? This isn't building back better. Teddy Roosevelt, another successful Republican president, always said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." President Biden is certainly speaking softly, all right, but he's whittling away our big stick down to a twig. We're already seeing the results. Weakness invites aggression. President Biden and his aides seem to believe that a return to the appeasement policies of the Obama administration and a rejection of President Trump's policies of strength are the best way to ensure peace. That's going to be tough for them and for the American people. We're already seeing how these policies do not work. Take Palestine, for example. Just 2 months ago, President Biden decided to send hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to the Palestinians. And I asked, for what reason? Why are we sending millions of dollars to Palestine at this time when we're having a tough point in our country with this pandemic? They just took American dollars and turned around and rained terror on our #1 ally. in the Middle East with thousands of rockets aimed at Israel civilians. It triggered the worst fighting between Israel and Hamas since 2014. The president's policy and millions of taxpayer dollars were wasted. They did nothing but arm Hamas. The president's policies did not work. President Biden made no secret that he wanted to bring back the failed Iran nuclear deal that was the pride of President Obama's second term. Well, Iran responded by supplying Hamas with those rockets to kill Israeli civilians. Iran is also sending warships to help their socialist ally, Venezuela. Again, the president's policies did not work. One of President Biden's first acts in office was to cancel the Keystone Pipeline with our northern border neighbor in Canada. Yet the president is allowing Russia to build the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline to Germany, further isolating Ukraine from its Western friends. Russia has responded by massing troops along the Ukraine border. Once again, the president's policies did not work. And the week after President Biden announced his skinny budget proposal, with no increase to the Department of Defense, China sent a record number of fighter jets into the Taiwanese airspace. That's a clear pattern that the president's policies aren't working, and they're emboldening our enemies. The fallout from the Biden administration weaknesses isn't just limited to far-off countries across the sea. We're seeing the very real cost at our southern border. The Biden administration refuses to take this crisis seriously. The number of illegal immigrants crossing the border this fiscal year is almost more than the 2006 year. And there are 4 months left to go in this year alone. In May of this year alone, Customs and Border Protection apprehended more than 180,000 illegal immigrants along the southern border. And it's not just folks coming from Central America. According to the CBP, there have been at least 59,000 illegal immigrants apprehended who are not from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, or Honduras. They're from as many as 90-plus countries as far away as Bangladesh, Guyana, and Nepal. And the problem is that it's not just people seeking a better life. Customs and Border Patrol reports they have arrested 95 convicted sex offenders attempting to enter the U.S. since the beginning of the fiscal year. And those are just the ones that are being caught. Biden 2 months ago said, "What's wrong with 2 million illegal immigrants?" So what the Biden administration is doing is they're not stemming the tide. President Biden threw his hands up and put Vice President Harris in charge. Has she visited the border since she's been put in charge? No. She thinks her words, quote, "don't come," are enough to stop the flood of illegal immigrants. Well, they're not. Her words are too late and too little. I remember how then candidates Biden and Harris pushed back against President Trump for wanting to secure the border, for wanting to enforce our immigration laws as written. And folks across the globe were listening. They heard the rhetoric, they packed their bags, and they made the dangerous journey. They took then candidates Biden and Harris at their word. It's why so many illegal immigrants wear T-shirts saying, "Biden, let us in." Why would they listen to her saying, "Don't come now"? But here's what really got me. When asked why she hasn't gone to the border to see the crisis for herself, Vice President Harris laughed and said, quote, "I haven't been to Europe either." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We need leadership, not a tourist. Well, Madam Vice President, I've been to the border, and I've seen how dangerous it is for these people coming here. I've actually listened to our Border Patrol agents. who talk about how the cartels really run things and how they have total control of the United States southern border. I've seen how many drugs are pouring across the border because our law enforcement are too busy processing illegal immigrants instead of catching the bad guys. But I sat beside a teenager leaving McAllen, Texas, on the flight to Houston. She had her new 3 or 4 month old baby. She was being sent on a plane by the Biden administration to Houston and then on the way to Denver, not knowing what she was to expect when she got there. It's not easy to see. It certainly wasn't for me, but that price of being in a position of power, to be able to do something about the problems facing people and our country, the Vice President needs to see the human cost of the policies she and the President are supporting. Ladies and gentlemen, peace is only possible when the United States is strong. That means a strong military, a strong economy, a strong educational system, and strong border. Unless we reverse our course soon, it will be too late to stop the violence and aggression President Biden's weakness has invited across the globe and here at home. Madam President, I yield the floor. Notice absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.